Hello, everyone. We are live. This is the ending conference for the amazing CNFT Festival, Japan Meets the West. Forgive me.
Recording in progress.
皆さん、はい、こんばんは。CNFT フェスティバルのエンディングカンファレンスの始まりです。よろしくお願いします。Okay.
Awesome. We have some amazing lineup today. We have Ryu Goto from Otodojo Nodes. We have Taimei. We have Oshomah, and we have Fahadouken. And then we got myself, Vicc, from the Order Order, and we got Yuri, who's also a co-founder of CNFTfestival.com. You guys had an amazing festival today and yesterday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the amazing lineup and conversations that we had.
はい、今日はカンファレンスの参加者にりょうさん、タイメイさん、オショマさん、ファハドーケンさん、そしてユーニャさんと私ビッグを迎えてこれからカンファレンスを開催したいと思います。この2日間とても素晴らしいカンファレンスが続けてありまして、皆さんご視聴ご参加ありがとうございます。ではよろしくお願いいたします。
So hopefully you guys enjoyed the conversation from the art conference where you guys learned how to onboard artists and musicians to Cardano and how to make your own CNFT project?
それぞれの皆さん今回のその CNFT カンファレンスについてどのような印象を受けていましたでしょうか。楽しまれていましたでしょうか。
And then as well, hopefully those that were trying to build on Cardano got some more information from Iagon and JPEG Store at the platform conference.
はい。この、CNFT フェスティバルの中で、JPEG ストアでしたりといったマーケットプレイスについての説明もあったと思います。
And then as well from the community conference, hopefully you from the Japanese community and the Western community got to learn a little bit how to build a community from the Goat Tribe, Happy Hoppers, and Dirt Birds.
はい、コミュニティカンファレンスについても、さまざまなお話がされていて、ダッパースだったりといったお話がされていたと思います。
And then, lastly as well, hopefully you got to enjoy some lovely conversation from some people building with some really beautiful and anime-inspired art, and then got to see and learn what's building on Cardano for gaming and metaverse.
はい、また他のカンファレンスではコミュニティを構築するためのカンファレンスとしてアニメにインスパイアされたアートでしたりゲームについてのお話がありました。
And if you missed any of that stuff, feel free to follow us at CNFT Festival on Twitter, CNFT Festival, and also go to our website at CNFT-festival.com. Right there we'll have the recorded episodes, and you can rewatch them and take notes and learn from these amazing guests that had the time to sit down with us.
はい、これらのことを見逃した方たちはぜひCNFT フェスティバルをフォローしていただいてウェブサイトもチェックしていただければキャッチアップすることができますのでぜひご覧ください。
All right. Lastly, this is it. This is the ending conference. Hopefully you guys had a great time, and now you get to meet some more amazing people as well. We're gonna have all our hosts and our guests introduce themselves. We'll start with Fahadouken.And I'll go ahead and introduce the next one.
はい、では今日エンディングカンファレンスに参加された皆様の自己紹介をしていただきたいと思います。まずはファハドーケンさんからお願いいたします。Okay.
Hi, thank you everyone for inviting me here. I'm Fahad. I go by Fahadouken. I'm a CNFT collector, and I also happen to be developing a very ambitious NFT game project under Ecoin.
はい、私はファハードーケンと申します。ファハードとお呼びください。私は CNFT のコレクターでもあり、また CNFT ゲームのプレイヤーとして参加している、ものです。よろしくお願いします。Okay.
All right, thank you. I'd like to turn it over as well to Oshomah. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
はい、では、大島さん、自己紹介お願いします。OK、大島さん。
Yeah, my name is Oshomah Abubakar, and I am from Nigeria, and I am creating, I'm also an NFT collector like Fahad, and I am very enthusiastic about the NFT space, especially the CNFT space, and I am working on a project called Afrixx, which is a historical project, and we have been able to create put history of Africa on the blockchain.
はい、私は、オショマと申します。アフリックスというプロジェクトのファウンダーをしております。CNFT のスペースやコミュニティについてとても関心を持って参加させていただいております。今日はどうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
Awesome, thank you. Taimei, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taimei. I'm Taiwanese, and I'm a co-founder of Punk Baby House Party with my husband, Jendo. And then right now we're focusing on academy and the creator software. So to help to onboarding more artists and a lot of more people interested in NFT and Cardano ecosystem, especially focused on Mandarin-speaking community in Southeast Asia, in Taiwan, and mainland China. Thank you.
はい、私はタイメイと申します。台湾出身です。台湾人です。パンクベイビーハウスパーティークラブという、NFT のプロジェクトの、設立者です。CNFT に、参加して、とても、CNFT で活動させていただいております。マンダリン、台湾語を話すコミュニティをビルドを構築することについて注力しています。よろしくお願いいたします。
Thank you very much. And then Otono Dojos, feel free to tell us a little bit about you guys.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and good evening. Thanks for having us, Vic and Yunya. Good to meet all of you too, Oshomah, Fahad, and Taimei. I'm Ryu. I am the co-founder of Otodojo Nodes, an audiovisual collection, and we are a Japanese-American duo seeking to bring quality music and visuals as one integrated package to not only the American communities, but the Japanese communities and to the world. So, thank you. おはようございます。こんばんは。ゴトと申します。ゴトリです。音道場ノーズの、共同、制作者です。音道場ノーズは、日系アメリカンな、チームの、私と、音道場さん、で、制作しています。音道場ノーズは、オーディオビジュアルな、コレクションで、オーディオと、音楽とビジュアルの、一体化した、NFT を、皆さんに、提供しようと思っています。ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much. And then I want to introduce Yuri. Yuri, go ahead, say a little about yourself.
Hi, hello everyone. Today I want to encourage non-native English-speaking community. So I will introduce myself in English, willing to speak English. I'm a co-founder of CNFT Festival, and I'm running the CNFT community that bridging the Japanese and the Western and the other countries. And we are helping onboarding Japanese artists to the CNFT space. So this is the ending conference, and we had a very huge time to create this event. So everyone enjoyed this conference. Thank you.
Ooh.
はい。 ゆーにゃ、はい、ゆーにゃと申します。今回は英語ノンネイティブの方たちに向けた CNFT コミュニティを広げるために活動しています。今回のCNFT カンファレンスとても皆さん楽しんでいただけたようで、よかったです。はい、これからCNFT コミュニティを広げるために活動していきたいと思っています。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
Awesome. And last but not least, I gotta shout out to the homie, the translator, and our also amazing interpreter, Tet.
Hello. Yeah, it's good to see you. My name is Ted. I'm been working as interpreter and translator to English and Japanese. So yeah, it's really honored to be here. So in part of this. So yeah, thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Awesome. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet all you guys again. And if you guys haven't met before, I get to see your face again. You get to see my face. So it's a pleasure.
皆さんの顔を改めて見ることができて嬉しいです。とても光栄です。よろしくお願いします。
For today's main topic, we're going to be talking about how to create a global community that translates language barriers.
はい、今日のトピックとしましては言語の壁をどのように越えてコミュニティを構築するかということになります。
And we have done an amazing thing where we brought this to Zoom to make it virtual to connect with as many people around the world. And we have plenty of people here right now.
はい、Zoom これから Zoom の会議を通して皆さんとお話ししていきながら会議を進めていきたいと思います。参加者が、はい、たくさんいらっしゃいますのでよろしくお願いします。はい。
I myself am in America right now, which is crazy that I'm talking to people from across the world right now. Taimei, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Taiwan.
Wow.
Now it's 7 p.m. Like
7 p.m. for you.
Wait, yes. Where do you what time are you at?
It's 6 a.m. for me. And Ryu Goto, I think you're also in the US right now. What time is it for you? And where are you?
7 a.m. for me, and it's I'm in New York right now. So yeah, bright and early.
I'm gonna let Tet translate a little bit of that.
はい、ビックさんは今アメリカにいらっしゃって今朝6時ですということでした。はい、タイメイさんは台湾にいらっしゃるので夜の7時頃ですということです。リュウさんは今ニューヨークにいらっしゃって午前7時にいらっしゃって午前7時ですということで皆さん時間が違うそれぞれ世界中でここで集まっていることが素晴らしいですということをおっしゃっています。
And then Oshomah, I got that right. Tell us where you're at right now. What time is it for you?
Yeah, it's it's 12:14 here. Lagos, sorry, Abuja, Nigeria.
Okay.
はい、大島さんは今アフリカにいらっしゃるということです。Okay.
And then Fahad, where are you at? And what time is it for you?
I'm in Qatar. It's 2 p.m. right now. It's an amazing week, kind of across the whole. We have the whole spectrum of morning, afternoon, and evening. It's good that you guys found a time that works for everyone to an extent.
はい、ファハードさんは今カタールにいらっしゃって午後2時だということでこんなに世界の各地でこういうふうに集まってお話しできることは素晴らしいことですねというふうにおっしゃっています。
And lastly, we have Yuri and Tet in Japan. What time is it for you guys?
You're in Japan. It is 8
Yuri
p.m.
さん、you're muting your mic.
Sorry. We are in Japan and now 8 p.m.
はい。
Wow.
Yes. 私たちは今日本にいて、夜8時です。はい。Okay.
So I just want to put that out there, just put in perspective that we are meeting from all around the world. And now, with that, I want to ask Fahadouken, how do you feel about this, and what do you think this means? Is this a bright future for Cardano, that we're all able to meet virtually?
はい。
100%. I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so まずビックさんが、今世界中でこうやってお話しできることが素晴らしいことだというふうにおっしゃっていて、ファハドさん、この状況についてどう思われますか、CNFT のこのコミュニティのつながりについてどう思われますかっていう答えに対して、ファハドさんはもう素晴らしいですと、とても素晴らしいというふうにおっしゃっています。Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's really amazing since the time I first found out about Japanese CNFT community through Twitter Spaces. I was really interested in connecting. I have a little bit of a connection with Japan where I learned Japanese language, and I have that connection. I also enjoy visiting Japan. I hope you guys open up the COVID fence soon. I need to visit. It's been a while since that's been closed for visitors. And since then, I've been really interested. And then I also had a lot of curiosity about NFT space in Japan and Cardano NFTs in general. I know that Cardano has a big following in Japan, Emurgo, and a lot of development was happening in Japan. So I was curious why it doesn't seem like we are seeing the Japanese community in our normal NFT space. And I think Yunya was very kind to support that and do a lot of Twitter spaces. And then that, I believe, evolved into the CNFT festival, which is, I think, an amazing venture, and maybe not enough eyes are on it, considering how significant I think this is in terms of sharing and crossing bridges. But also the fact that this is a very international world. And I think it's one of the beauties of blockchain as well, the fact that we can all transact easily and that we all have access to similar platforms. There's a lot of global arbitrage in terms of art, in terms of commerce, and while there's a lot of things needed to be done in terms of, for example, frameworks and all that kind of thing, but still I think there's loads of value in having this kind of event and having us all be able to connect together in a very global space where everyone is getting connected at a much higher speed as well.
はい、はい、ファハドさんは今回この CNFT フェスティバルに参加できてとても素晴らしいです。素晴らしいことですとおっしゃっています。で、日本の日本のコミュニティで、日本のスペースに参加して日本語を学ぶ機会にも恵まれました。はい。で、前回日本に来訪したこともありますので、日本にとても馴染みがあります。NFT ジャパン、CNFT のその日本のコミュニティについてはユニアさんがとても尽力されていて、その CNFT の日本のコミュニティの広がりをとても活動しているのをよく目にする機会があります。はい。で、重要だと思うのはやはりそういったコミュニティの中でつながることとそれにつけてカルダノのそのトランザクションの速さだったり良さっていうところを広げていくことと、あとアートや、世界的な、コミュニティのつながりを、もっと広がりを広げていければというふうに考えていますというふうにおっしゃっています。Okay.
Awesome. I wanted to ask as well from Oshomah, you built you've been building the African community. Tell us a little more about what you've been building over there.
Yeah, so the Afrixx project is basically putting African history through iconic characters on the blockchain, telling unabashed in a respectful manner, and letting people understand that there are actual heroes, iconic characters from Africa that they can look up to. And what that does is that it helps let people understand there is something that they can look for in their past that can see like a foundation for what can be the future that we can look forward to. Because if we do not have heritage, we are mostly lost. We start borrowing cultures and start borrowing views from different places, and by that we begin to lose our identity. We see that my name is Oshomah. My first name is actually Abdulwahab Abubakar. My second is Abdulwahab. I picked up my middle name Oshomah because it's native to where I'm from. And I started using it to let people know that this is who I am. So when people ask, what does Oshomah mean? I tell them that it is from a particular place. So that is what I'm trying to do with the Afrixx project.
Thank you.
Okay. はい、はい、私は今アフリカにいて、カルダのコミュニティにとても興味魅力を感じて活動を始めましたと。これからのカルダの展開、未来の展開についてもとても文化的についてもとても期待をしていますと。はい、私の名前はオショマと言いまして、アブラハムという名前のオショマ・アブラハムっていうアブラカーっていう、はい、名前になります。でアフリカで活動、アフリックスというプロジェクトを展開しておりまして、そのファウンダーになります。はい、今回は CNFT フェスティバルに参加して光栄です。よろしくお願いいたします。
Thank you so much. And then Taimei, I know you're bridging the gap with the Mandarin speaking community. Tell us a little more what you've been working on.
Well, actually, before we do the NFT, my husband was actually trading the crypto, and then later on, before we were photographers, so we had connected to be able to connect it with a lot of artist community in Taiwan. So that's how it got into the founding the NFT project. But after we started the NFT project, we realized there's a couple difficulties for the artists. There's a technical barrier for people to entry into the Cardano CNFT because they have to have the help with the developers in order to get in. And for the people wanting to invest or trading or collecting NFT, there's also the language barrier for Mandarin speaker because a lot of the technical and educational content is majorly in English. Then figuring out identify those two difficulties got us into switching and broaden our focus on the academy as an educational content and also the creator software to help the artists onboarding them into the Cardano system. And that's what we do. So I will let Ted translate first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. はい、タイメイさんは、まず最初にタイメイさんの、夫の方が、トレーダーでそのクリプトのトレーダーをしていて、それでお二人とも写真家として活動していました。で台湾のそのアーティストのコミュニティに、所属していたんですけれども、その時に感じていたのがその CNFT に参入する時にとても難しさを感じていて、その開発者とのそのお互いに助け合うっていうところは大事だったんですけれども、やはり言葉の壁を感じていて、マンダリンと英語がやはり主要な言語に共通言語にはなってきますので、そことマンダリンのその言葉の壁に、とても難しさを感じていました。でそれで今は大学でクリエイターと、そのコミュニティをつなげるような動きをしています。はい。
Thank you, Ted. I want to add one more thing is that there is a challenging and difficulties that I find out because I was actually to begin with trying to having the Twitter space in Mandarin and bridging it with the English speaking because a lot of Twitter space is one focusing on majorly in speaking in English, and secondly is the time frame is mainly focused on the Western time frame. So I later on was very honored and had the pleasure to join the Cardano Woman team. So I was able to host a Cardano Woman East space, especially supporting women and artists based on Eastern Hemisphere. Another thing that I find is the difficulty would be, especially for Mandarin speaker, I think is generally as a cultural thing is that when people are not familiar with the ecosystem or the whole education and they are afraid of speaking out, they are not as encouraged to speaking as a Westerner. It's a kind of cultural things. People wanted to join the space is that they want to learn something. They might not feel comfortable to talk at first. So that was kind of a little bit rough to have the Twitter space right now. With other language, that's how I find it. But I really appreciate what Yuri-san is doing, is that for also not only the Twitter space, but also the YouTube that can reach a broader audience so that it takes time to build and make sure that they'll feel comfortable and then can speak their opinion, can participate in the ecosystem with us together, because those voice and those opinions does matter very much with Cardano ecosystem is broadening and is scale with the globally. So yeah, that's what I want to add. Thank you.
はい。タイメイさんがおっしゃってたのは、ツイッタースペースだったり、その他の、YouTube だったりっていうところで、挑戦したいことがあって、それはホストをして、その英語と、マンダリンのその間に立って、ホストをして、東洋の女性を中心に、エコシステムにまだ慣れていない方たちに向けて、その文化的にそういう方たちがそういったことを学びたいけれど、まだちょっと話したりするのが難しいという方たちに向けて、そういったホストをして手助けをするような動きをしていきたいというお話です。で、これについて同じようなことをユニアさんの方ではもうすでに日本のコミュニティの中でそういった試みをされていて、それはとても素晴らしいことだと思っていますと。で、やはりこういった形で YouTube で展開することなどがとても大事だと思っていて、ただこれにはやはり時間がかかってこれから皆さんで広げていければ素晴らしいと思っていますというふうにおっしゃっています。
Amazing. Thank you so much, Taimei. And then Ryu, I know you have some significance between the name of your NFT project, Otono Dojos. Tell us a little more how you incorporate your culture and music into just what you're doing right now.
Thank you. Yeah, so for Otodojo, the name means, a sound dojo or place for learning. And nodes, we chose that word because we like to think that each person, is kind of an intersection, right? We're in kind of a hub in themselves for ideas and for perspectives and things like that. So it's kind of it's an experimental project where we learn from each other. We're producing our artwork here, but we're constantly bringing in new creators. We're speaking with new creators. We hope to really collaborate with up-and-coming artists, really showcase them. This is the idea that, there are no shortage of creators who I think want to take a step into Cardano and into the NFT space. But as Taimei touched on, it's difficult without kind of resources. And in terms of for us, we have all our resources in both Japanese and English, because actually we've had many people reach out to us and saying, "Wow, we love what you're doing." Many Japanese speakers and saying, "How can we do this? Where do we find resources?" And so we have channels dedicated to the Cardano basics. We like to connect people with our own resources. We don't really gatekeep any of that. So, as Fahad also said, the Cardano space in Japan is already is large. It's one of the most popular blockchains in Japan. I think it's not a question of there aren't any creators. We all know that Japan creates lots of culture through its the culture and pop culture, counterculture. So it's a matter of onboarding those who are willing. So yeah, that's what we do. ファードさんも、おっしゃってた通り、ご存知の通り、カルダノというのは日本でも非常に、盛んな、ブロックチェーンなんですけれども、クリエイターカルダノにおいての NFT、CNFT の、なぜまだ日本人、日系人の、クリエイターが少ないかというのはやはりそのクリエイト、その意思がないというわけではなくて、やはりリソース、タイメイさんもおっしゃってましたけれども、アジアでそのカルダノの、How to ですね、ノウハウのリソースというのが非常にまだ全部、英語メインなので、そういうサポートが少ないものなので、我々としてはこのウェブサイトやリソースが全て日本語と英語、両方で、提供してますけれども、そこでもやっぱりもし、クリエイターさんや、コミュニティメンバーが、どうやったらもっと CNFT スペースに、入り込めるのかっていう踏み込めるのかっていう質問がよく、来ますが、その時には必ずこのリソースを紹介して全部、できれば日本語に、和訳して皆さんにプロバイドしています。
Thank you so much. So, Fahad, I want to pose this question to you. So you've been building the project Equines, and how have you been bridging the language barriers between the many people that buy and support your project in your Discord? How have you been supporting that, all the different languages in your community?
It's a good question. I think we are lucky to also have a subject for our project courses, which is very universal, I would say, or global. And people love them all around the world. And we realize that we have a very global community. Now, in terms of approaching those, unfortunately, I would say most of our public communication, as in Twitter, etc., has been single language English for sake of maybe consistency. Even though we do have a lot of, I would say, as our founders are also very international, we have a broad set of languages and language capability. We have myself, I would say, bilingual, trilingual if you count the Japanese, with Arabic and English, and then Japanese. We have Nick on board who also speaks French, and then we have Marek who also speaks Polish, and I'm not sure if he also speaks any Mandarin at all. So we do have that kind of broad sense, but also in the design, we realize that it's very global. So when we create the game itself, we are creating it in advance with a framework that will allow easy localization. We are aware of game localization practices where usually the text, in-game text, is actually put in a separate file where it can easily be translated, etc. In terms of community, what we did do recently when we realized, I was very pleasantly surprised, I'll say, after we released our project for sale, even though it was only in English, I would say, all the announcements, etc. We saw some people, because we have the AR, augmented reality functionality, where people can pose with their horses or show them in places, and they noticed that gave people a lot of fun things to do. And they noticed then that a lot of people were posting their original content with their horses in their mother language. And I think that's really cool, because then that means they're sharing it with their general space of friends and not only for the NFT people. And I think that's super cool. And that's what we aim for. We think NFTs should be a part of normal life as any other product. It will be normal to share it with anybody else, and it's not like an echo chamber. Maybe I'll pause for Tets to help us with the
You got this one,
and then I'll continue.
OK。はい。まずビクさんが言葉の壁についてどのように思われますかというふうな質問をしていただきまして、で、ファハードさんの方で私は世界的なコミュニティにグローバルなコミュニティについて有効であり続けますというふうな答えをいただきました。それで、やはり パブリックのコミュニティにおいてはやはり単一のその言語で、コミュニケーションをするということが重要になってくると思うんですけれども、その中でやはりそのバイリンガルだったりトライリンガルの重要性があって、いろんな、アラビックと英語だったりマンダリンと、英語だったりっていうところで、話ができる人がとても重要になってくるんですけれども、そんな中で彼はそのゲームを、作っていて、そのフレームの中では、ローカリゼーションをしていて、言葉のその各言語に対応するようにしていますというお話をしていました。またもう一つのその楽しみ方としては馬の育成ゲームというのがありまして、それを実際のその馬と紐付けることによって、一般の NFT とはあまり関わりのない人たちにとっても一般的に関われるようなそういった展開を考えていますというふうにおっしゃっていました。
Yeah, and the last thing was also in our Discord community, we figured that even though the community includes a healthy number of English speakers, we also want to be welcoming to everybody. And we realized from our Twitter that there's a lot of international followers who are interacting with our posts. So we now recently created some language-specific channels. Right now we have French, Korean, and Japanese, if I remember right, and Spanish. We have right now these 4 channels. They're not as active as the general channels, but they're meant to accommodate those who prefer to discuss about the project or anything new in those languages. So that's another way we try to accommodate the international side of things.
はい、私たちはまたディスコードを運営しているんですけれども、その中にはいくつかの言語チャンネルが分かれて存在していて、例えばフランス語だったり韓国語だったり日本語といったそれぞれ専用のチャンネルがあって、そのチャンネルごとに、それぞれの言語で議論がとてもよく行われていますというふうにおっしゃっています。
Thank you so much, Faha. All right, Oshomah, tell us a little more on how you built the Afrixx community almost, because you've been active in Twitter Spaces for some time. So tell us some more how you got started.
All right, so initially it started with 2 of us, 2 artists, and we invited another about 3, and we wanted to create a project that was not really a project. We wanted to create a series of animated of characters that were African and just a one-off thing. But as we started creating them, we decided that we needed a bigger audience, and we needed this to be more elaborate than it is. So we decided to reach out to WADA. I don't know if you know WADA is like the African blockchain bridge between African development and Cardano. So they have the infrastructure to help us get things out there. So one of the things that we wanted to do with WADA was that they have a network in the Cardano community, and that network we wanted to leverage on. So we reached out to them, and they were happy to help us out with that. And since then, we were able to put on Twitter Spaces, reach people that were very influential community, and decided to build our network that way. And that's been really good. It has been challenging, very challenging, because there are a lot of projects that are out there, but it has been really good.
Okay. はい、はい、私、Vicc さんの方で、まず言葉の壁についてどんなふうに思われますかという質問に対して、はい、私は、 アフリカでそのアニメのプロジェクト、アニメに基づいたプロジェクトをAfrixxというプロジェクトを展開しているんですけれども、やはりその言葉の壁を取り除いた上でオーディエンスを集める必要があると思っていて、でさらにその WADA という WADA という、アフリカの、ブロックチェーンのその橋渡しになるような組織を展開しているので、とてもそれについて幸運だと思っているし、チャレンジングなことだというふうに、捉えています。はい。
All right, thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, Oshomah?
Yeah. So like what we do is like tell stories. From time to time we hold community events.
Oh, kiddo, try it. No big deal.
So we hold community events, that spaces just to engage with the community as much as we can, so that people will understand what is happening with us and the stories that we want to tell. Right now we are working on comics. We have finished like the first edition, and we'll be airdropping it to people that have Afrixx on their wallets. Yeah.
Awesome. And did you say there's something special about those comics?
Yeah, they're telling, like I said, the stories of these characters. The first one is Ebotan. Is like an Edo, like Benin Kingdom. She is a very iconic character. She was very influential in like restoring peace in the Benin Kingdom. And a lot of people do not know her story. Even the people in Nigeria, they don't know her story. So I feel like it is one of the things that people need to know, and it's one of the best mediums for us to like tell this story, because a lot of people do not read these stories that we put out in article form. So if it is represented in a visual format as well, people would like appreciate it more and like be able to picture a bit more of the story, and to be passed on to children and teenagers so that they will know more about it.
はい。そうですね。はい。まずそのコミュニティについて、その今起こっていることについて今お話をしていました。コミックスについてこれから展開をしようと思っています。漫画について展開しようと考えていますとおっしゃっていました。ビニー・キンドというキャラクターを使って、それを映像化して、それをもとに、コミックを展開するというようなお話をされていました。今後、そのAfrixxの中でそういった展開があるというお話です。はい。
Well, thank you, Oshomah. That's amazing that you're sharing stories from your culture and just bringing it to the world. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
All right, Taimei, you're next. I know you had some challenges with the Mandarin community, but
Yes.
tell us some awesome things that you've experienced by meeting many people from different places around the world. Let Ted translate all that stuff before we go.
Well, it was amazing. First of all, I wanted to say that it's such a pleasure to be in this virtual room with Fahadouken, because your name has been brought up to me so many times ever since I started in the space, and I really want to say thank you to you because for your support from the early beginning to here. Like I would like to let all the audience know that Fahadouken is such a big supporter and contributor for the Cardano CNFT community, and I want to say thank you for that. And I also like to say thank you to Oshomah because I also personally connected with the project, with the history and culture that I didn't know. I learned so much through their project, and then also talking to him about the difficulty and challenging that the project is facing facing, and then how can we help each other to overcome that, and what kind of support that they need from the Cardano community. And that is the things that I find myself like connected the most and learn the most. And also through being a host at the space, I'm constantly being inspired by so many people that join the ecosystem, no matter they're artists or they're people wanted to be part of the ecosystem that makes it more of what we are hoping to be and thriving together. So that's what I see. And for me, I do have a couple questions that I want to ask. For example, I will let Ted translate first before I go into questions. Thank you.
Okay. はい、まず最初にマンダリンのそのコミュニティについて、タイメイさんからお話をお願いしますと、ビックさんからお話でした。で、タイメイさんからは、まずはとてもまずはここにいられることが光栄です。というふうにおっしゃっていて、なぜかというとファハードさんがまずファハードさんにとても感謝を伝えたいということでした。なぜかというとファハドさんはカルダノコミュニティのその設立の際にとても素晴らしいサポートをしていただいて、それがとても助かりましたと、本当にありがとうございますというふうにおっしゃっていました。やはりそのカルダノコミュニティを展開するにあたってその難しさを感じているのは、そのつながりを持つことだったり、エコシステムについてもっと展開して理解を深めて、これからどのように活動を続けていくかというところに問題をとても感じています。で、さらにここから2つの質問をしたいと思います。OK。
Thank you. The question that I have is for everyone here is that when we are onboarding the people and the artists, especially artists, because the CNFT market and community is evolving, so that means it's constantly changing. So how do we prepare artists wanted to come in and release their NFT project, and how do we prepare them for that for this community and market? And yes.
I want to give that to Ryu first, and then Fahad, and then Oshomah. Go ahead, Ted.
OK、はい、まず一つ目の質問としましては、どのようにこれからコミュニティが進化するにあたって私たちはどのように準備をしていったら良いでしょうかという質問です。ファハドさんとオシマさんの順番で聞いていきます。OK。
All right, Ryu.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and like I was saying before, it's not that there is no shortage of creators who want to get into the space, right? So I think and there's no shortage of people who want to discover these fantastic either established artists or up and coming artists who want to put their work on Cardano. So excuse me. I think that's a very good question when it comes to how do we prepare artists, and I think it's I'm gonna do some real talk here, but it's about kind of the realities of the space, right? So and how their art may be consumed, but not necessarily by the same crowds and with the same intents as what they might be used to. And so it's about kind of the messaging, what kind of messaging, and crafting them, helping them craft the message and the presentation methods that would most effectively get their work out to consumers and to people who want to who discover them. So the second component is, I think, about the fact that if you're an up-and-coming artist or an up-and-coming project, you're going to face certain hurdles that are not entirely unlike what people go through in more traditional methods of dissemination. There's a lot of noise out there, a lot of it's a huge and growing market, but it's also very difficult to sort of kind of cut through that noise. It's a tornado out there. It's a hurricane, and so it requires a lot of, and I'm glad that we're talking about community building here, because it requires a lot of community building, a lot of outreach, and really just hammering out messages together. And I know Taimei touched on this too, but you need, it's kind of about having friends in the space and building friendships. More importantly than, I think, you can't really make, okay, excuse me, let me phrase that a different way. It's very hard to make it on your own in the space, even though, because we don't really sort of exist in isolation in the space. And to be willing to forge friendships and close relationships with other creators and other projects, so that, you kind of amplify each other's voices, together, kind of community over competition. This is the kind of, I think, the mentality that's very important to, kind of convey to creators who wish to get into the space. Sorry for that. I know that was pretty long. この新しいクリエイター、エスタブリッシュされたクリエイターや、もうすでに左対トークン NFT スペースに、入ってらっしゃるこのクリエイターをどうやってこの CNFT にカルダノにオンボードするかということなんですけれども、その課題については多分2つの点があると思うんですね。一つは、まずこの NFT のスペースのコンシューマーたちがそのコンシューマーパターンですね。ですからどういった形でそのアートやコンテンツを、コンシュームして、どういうふうにそのなんていうんですかね、そのアートを受け入れるかというのは少し、もう普通のなんていうんですかね、NFT 以外の、プラットフォームと違うかもしれないんですね。ですからそういったそのなんていうんですかね、期待というのを、エクスペクテーション、期待度をそこでアジャストしないといけないと思うんですけれども、もう一つの点としては、やはりこのカルダノにおいてもなんですけれども、NFT のスペースっていうのが非常にまだ市場が拡大してますけれども、その中でやはり自分のメッセージをどうやって、なんていうんですかね、オーディエンスに届けるのかっていうのは非常に難しくて、台風の中に自分叫んでるような感じがすると思うんですけれども、そこでやはり絆作り、友達作り、縁っていうのをなんていうんですかね、リレーションシップを作っていくっていうのが非常に大事だと思うんですね。他のクリエイターやプロジェクトリーダーたちとやはり一緒に共に似たようなビジョンがあって、やっぱりその似たようなビジョンを持っている方たちと一緒に協力し合ってそのメッセージを、なんていうんですかね、もっと、そのノイズの中になんていうんですかね、もっとクリアにみんなに大きな声にみんなで、合唱して、伝えるということが、大事な点だと思っています。Sorry for the terrible translation. I'm having trouble going back and forth.
No, you're perfect.
Thank you so much.
Shall I continue on that?
Yeah, you're next, Fahad.
Okay. So I think, Tam, it's a really good question. And I think it's one of the questions that we strive to answer day in, day out, because it's so important for both sides of let's say, the consumer side and the creator side. I made a few comments related to this. It's one of my mantras on NFTs, and I mentioned this in the game conference panel, but I also repeat it here because it's very important to realize is what the NFT technology provides, and whether it's Cardano or otherwise. I think it's better on Cardano because obviously I'm in this and convinced. But what NFTs provide to creators is one challenge. And then there's the whole marketing challenge as a separate thing that I think exists both, whether it's in a conventional or traditional art sale or a digital one, which is different, but I would say similar in approach. So what the technology allows, and I think this is it's an important, I would say, selling point for NFTs because it's legit and it's very true, but we take it for granted unless we think about it. And I think many artists or creators misunderstand a lot. And there are a lot of people thinking, for example, NFTs are not sustainable, or that they're some kind of scheme or strange system, and why things have a certain value and it's not correct, and like there's a lot of it is not genuine. And a lot of artists, I think, misunderstand that more than those who are already in the space. So my view is NFTs are simply a technology that makes it very simple to publish, to sell, and to distribute digital items. And as long as they cross that bridge of understanding of the technology, they'll understand the value there and why we are excited about it. It's a platform to easily publish, sell, and distribute, because it's beautiful because it's decentralized. It's beautiful because the costs are very low, I would say, relatively speaking, and it's very practical. You can publish very fast, you can sell very fast and very easily, and you can distribute very fast and very easy. Whereas the typical alternatives would be going through a large-scale publisher, and that already is a middleman that can make things very challenging, especially for smaller artists. But also the bigger artists can gain value from having a little bit more control over the process, etc. So I think that's one part, which is understanding the technology and why it's valuable, because I find it funny when an artist is happy to go and sell, for example, commissions on DeviantArt or somewhere for $100 or $150, but they feel that selling an NFT for $100 is a scam. And I think it's very funny because when it's an NFT, it's actually much more protection for the artist because they can sell a one-of-one that person can actually truly own. Whereas if it's a DeviantArt commission, you really have no idea where it went and where it's gonna be, and there's no proof of who made it and where it's been done, etc. So I think it's just a good value proposition for the artist to understand, to kind of get in there. I'll stop for Ted to translate this part, and then I'll go to the next one.
Okay, thank you. はい、ファハードさんについては、どうですかというビックさんの質問に対して、まずコンシューマーとクリエイターの間にその、問題がいろんな問題があるとは思いますというふうに、感じていますと。それで私はゲームを展開しているんですけれども、CNFT のテクノロジーについてとても重要な点を感じています。NFT についてはそのクリエイターがマーケティングに使うことについてテクノロジーを用いて、アーティストがNFT を使ってその作品を発表することにとても素晴らしいと思っているのですが、多くのアーティストがそれについて勘違いを起こしていると思っていますと。多くのアーティストがその環境的について良くないことだったりとか、そのスキーム的な部分で間違いがあるんではないかというふうなことを考えているというふうに感じていました。で、私のファハードさんの視点としてはNFT は簡単なテクノロジーであり、そのデジタルの、アート作品をデジタルデータとしてその発行して売ることができますと。しかもそれをとても早くすぐに売ることが可能になっています。それが素晴らしいテクノロジーによってそれが可能になっているというところが素晴らしいというふうに思っています。小規模のアーティストだったり大規模なアーティストがそのテクノロジーを理解することによって、例えばその、ワンオンワン一点物の、一点物を作るアーティストが、コミッション 依頼を受けることについて、例えば納期についてわからないことになっていたりとかっていうところを避けることができるのではないかというふうに考えていますというふうにおっしゃっています。Okay.
And I'll try to keep the second part a little bit short just to summarize, but I think the next part is actually, instead of saying it's about marketing, it's the whole idea that while NFTs technology allow you to publish, sell, and distribute, the other realization is they don't do everything else. Okay, and that everything else is marketing, for example, or the technology part of it, or understanding how to get that out there, or understanding the technical side of developing, for example, or growing an audience, or growing a community, and all of those things. I think that's the other side of things that an artist needs to also realize, that they will still need to do that, or they need to partner with somebody who's willing to help them with that. It can be somebody who can give them the development side. It can be someone, and I think what you guys are doing is also beautiful in giving artists control and learning, or trying to educate themselves on what they can do. And that's one approach, and I think it's successful to an extent when there's enough tools where the artists can use by themselves to kind of own their own project. The other way around it, which I think has been very successful because it also fills some of the, let's say, gaps, is to also have artists be able to collaborate with project managers, so to say, or people who can handle everything other than the art creation, even though that kind of creates a sort of, I won't say middleman, but it still necessitates a partner. And I still think it's beautiful because it still has that autonomy where you have somebody who can handle the marketing, somebody who can handle the technology side, etc. So I think that's one major part. And only the last comment I'll have to make on this is also around expectations of excuse me.
A phone call.
It's about expectations, and I think it's also important for artists to realize that, especially when it comes to NFTs, there is a clear, let's say, number one, expectations need to be very reasonable in knowing. You start with lowest expectations is to be able to sell your stuff as you normally would outside the NFT world. If you do make it better, then that's good because you gain some value from having a bigger audience, etc. But it's also good not to assume that everything will automatically have a huge audience. Not to imagine that everyone will appreciate your art, even if it's amazing and excellent, because you need to cross so many bridges. And there's some people misunderstand when they see some of the bigger projects get immense monetary value or price, and then they see their very hard worked creation not get that. But I think it's important to also have a lesson on expectations and to know that it's not a direct correlation between effort or ability and value. There's a lot more to do with it. A big part of it is speculation, but also a big part of it is also kind of marketing and reaching there and having a certain brand value, etc. So it's just maybe it's a bit of a general answer, but it's also a general question. I'm happy to elaborate more in a different space when we have the time.
はい。まずマーケティングと、テクノロジーの面でそのプロジェクトに対してチームそれぞれの担当者がつくことでそういったそういったふうに分担することはとても素晴らしいと思っています。例えばプロジェクトマネージャーを、起用してプロジェクトマネージャーに、そういった、開発だったり、技術面だったりそのマーケティングについてのギャップを埋めてもらうというのはとても素晴らしいことだと思っています。でそれでツールとしてその稼ぐそうですね、利益を生み出すということがとても素晴らしいのではないかというふうに思っています。で NFT の外にいる、そのお客様に対して、とても大きい素晴らしい感謝をすることになるというふうには思うんですけれども、その予想についてはNFT の外から お客様を呼び込むことについては呼び込むことができればとても素晴らしいことだと思いますし、ただそれはもっとハードワークが必要になってきますし、それぞれの能力をもっと高めてもっと大きい展開をするようになるのではないかというふうな予想をしています。はい。
Right, thank you so much. And then Oshomah, any other remarks on what Taimei said?
Yeah, it's very difficult to talk what Fahad has said. He has covered a breadth of it, but I'll be speaking from the perspective of where I'm from. So to introduce a lot of artists to the space, there are a lot of artists in Nigeria. Just to really think about it, it's mind-blowing. I know a couple of artists that have sold out like their collections because they are globally acclaimed. And one of the things that helped them is coming into the space early. But for people that haven't come into the space yet, or the people that are still contemplating or struggling to come into the space, one of the things that I have noticed, for people that haven't gotten their footing into the space, one of the things is that they become frustrated when they don't sell, and that goes on to Fahad's point, expectations. People expect that their piece of art is going to blow people's minds away, and they will pay the premium on that. And marketing is one of the things that people do not do, or artists do not do, and they find that like the capitalist machinery is not something that they want to succumb to, because they are free spirits, and it is very difficult for them to like reconcile both at the same time. But at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is still sell. Us putting our art out there is trying to gain people's attention and try to cure like a sickness per se that is in the world, because the world without art is like nothing, just black and white without color and legs. And what I try to tell people, like I said, is do not have as much expectation for your stuff to sell. Just keep creating stuff, just keep creating good art that you know that even if they don't sell, they will do stuff in the world and like make positive impact to people's lives. Because if you are creating just for the sake of selling alone, you might not put in your best work. You might not be putting out stuff that you feel like in a machinery kind of like industry, creating a copy of what you have done before. But when you put your heart into it, you see that a lot of people are attracted to stuff that are genuine. And going on to Fahad's point about collaboration, that's one of the reasons why we reached out to WADA, because we do not have the capability of marketing. We are just artists, and I can have the broadest of ideas, but to put it out there in the market is very difficult, because I cannot concentrate on two of those things at the same time. So that collaboration is very important. And going on to Ryu's, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, his point about having friends in the community. Like Taimei, for instance, I won't be here if I didn't jump on the space with Taimei. So like having that, putting that effort to reach out to people, to talk to people, to have that kind of have these conversations with people, like Cinnamon Bun, when you go on the space, up like 2 a.m. just like get on the space, have the chance to like speak to him. So putting in that effort to be with people and like collaborate with them, like talk to them, have conversations with them about what space is. That is like one of the quickest and surest way for you to be able to have eyes on your project and have people to jump on your project. But unfortunately, there are a lot of artists that might not be able to do this. So yeah, and again, Cardano, like you said, to me is the best NFT space, or the NFT space. I'm ready to say NFT. The best NFT space that anybody can jump on. The technology is solid, and price of transactions are very low. And for like an economy that we are in, like Africa or Nigeria, people do not want to spend a week's worth of meal to transact on gas alone. and there is no guarantee that you are going to sell. That's the worst part. So if anybody's listening, invest in the Cardano NFT space. This is just me shooting Cardano, but yeah.
Thank you so much.
はい、はい、まずコミュニティについてとても重要だと思って大事にしたいというふうにおっしゃっています。今までそういったコミュニティに参加する機会がなかったので、これからそういったことに対して、興味を持ってアフリカのフリースピリッツだったりっていうことについて興味を持ってもらうような、ことだったり、例えばその病気だったり例えば差別についていろいろ語り合えるようなコミュニティが形成されればいいというふうに考えています。またそのコラボレーションについてもとても興味があって、さまざまな大勢のアーティストや友達の中にいることがとてもやはり素晴らしいことですし、そういったものを作り上げるということはとても大切なことだというふうに考えています。CNFT のスペースはやはり経済的にもトランザクションの手数料が安かったりとかガス代が安く済むっていうところについて素晴らしいと思っていますし、その点についてもとても素晴らしいというふうに考えています。はい、ありがとうございます。
All right, thank you so much, everyone. I want to pose this last question for the ending conference to everyone. So just to answer a question from the crowd, from the Japanese community, they're asking, where can I usually see a work of artists? Or where can I find artists? And so basically for me, how I discover artists is through NFT Twitter, or JPEG Store, which is the marketplace. Just to answer that question. So if you guys want to help out our friend in the chat, can tell us how you guys discover some artists, especially some of those people that are collectors. I guess Ryu wants to go first. See his hands up.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and it's something that could be improved upon. Definitely in terms of information, kind of aggregation. Right now, it's kind of divided into certain kind of groups of kind of information disseminators. You've got the influencers, right? The sort of the YouTube personalities, right? There's Twitter, and that's kind of so through social media. And then there are the actual markets, right? Or marketplaces, excuse me, that showcase artists and where all the art is kind of sold. Right, and then there's kind of the whole word of mouth kind of thing. I think in terms of that, to go with the second part, right, in terms of JPEG, I know Vic, you said JPEG Store. There are certain marketplaces. There's several, right? JPEG Store. There's Token Artifact, like a Genesis House. I'm sorry to all the other marketplaces that I'm kind of drawing a blank on. There are plenty of marketplaces, and each Artano, of course, and some of these marketplaces cater to certain types of collections. So and so if you're looking for, say, artists who are selling pure art, right, without utility or any kind of mechanism, then you might say go to Artano, or you might go to Token or Artifact. If you're looking for kind of more general marketplace, you might go for JPEG Store, right? So I think it would be, and you guys can speak on this too, the marketplaces are divided or specialized. So there are marketplaces that specialize in certain types of CNFT arts. And yeah, so other than that is really just going through social media, I guess. 非常にいい質問だと思うんですけれども、 どうやってそのアーティストをディスカバーするのかという、発見するのかということなんですけれども、もちろんそのソーシャルメディアの方では、YouTube のインフルエンサーさんや、Twitter、Discord っていうのがあるんですけれども、あとマーケット市場が、まず、そういうアートがどういったところで売られているのかっていう市場っていうのがいくつかありまして、それは JPEG Store、Artano、Genesis House、Token、Artifact、っていうのが、これ全部チャットの方に、残しますが、その市場によってこうなんていうんですかね、スペシャライズしてる、CNFT.io as well. So、特徴とするアートのこうなんていうんですかね、アートスペシャリティっていうのがあるんで、例えばその JPEG ストアですと大胆にもう全ての、コレクションを、そこで売ってますけれども、もっとアルタノやアーティファクト、ジェネシスハウス、トークンとかになると、もう少しこうちょっとピュアアート系のアーティストに集中して、そのスポットライトを当てているので、そういったところで、自分の、探したいタイプの、CNFT によって、こう見る市場が違うと思います。プラットフォームが違うと思います。
Thank you so much.
And sorry. And if you guys, if I missed any, you can just put it in the chat. I think here as well. So
that's helpful. And then, Faha, I know you got some words you want to say about this as well, since you're a huge collector in the space.
Yeah, I think it's two things really. It depends on whether you want to mint NFTs or buy directly from the creator or from the secondary marketplace. So if you wanna mint directly from a collection that's being sold straight from the artist, usually you'd want to be present or search for like-minded people who enjoy the same art or same content that you do. For example, if you're into a certain very artistic style, some fine art kind of style art, if you like abstract art, if you like a more realist or surrealist kind of style, it really depends on which artist you enjoy. The nice thing about community and artists is that they don't see fellow artists as competitors. So if you follow one artist which you enjoy, you'll find them also sharing content from other artists often. So I think that's the only really way usually to go if you wanna.
And I think we just lost Faha.
Right. Okay, let me trust. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So, まず2つあると思っていて、まず1つはその二次流通とかが二次流通があると思っています。まず直接アーティストから買う場合と、そのマーケットに出ている二次流通のものを買うパターンがあると思っています。その中にはやっぱりファインアートだったり、アブストラクトアートだったり、さまざまな種類のアートがあると思うんですけれども、まずその一人の、気に入ったアーティストを、探して、そのアーティストの作品を買うことでさらにそこから広がっていく展開があるというふうに思っていますというふうにおっしゃっていました。Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Fahadouken, for those amazing remarks. Appreciate it. And Oshomah, please feel free to tell us how you discovered artists. And I know you're a collector as well in this space as well too.
So one of the things is, like you said, is follow the NFT space on Twitter. I don't know about any other social network. And follow Fahadouken because he's always talking about projects that he's interested in. It was through him that I think I discovered Pavia, and that was like really cool. Discord. If you go on, I think Dead Pixels Discord, their general channel, they're always talking about projects that they find interesting, and it was through there that I found some other projects as well. Those are the things. It's here. So like follow Fahadouken on Twitter. He's always talking about his interest in the NFT space. I enjoy the analysis that he drops about them. Like I said, 10 Pixels, their Discord server. If you go on their general, you will find like they're always talking about different projects. Even the Claymates Discord server, you see that they talk about different projects there as well when they're meeting. Things that you might not find on Twitter that they will talk about. So it is like a more concentrated place for people to discuss about NFTs. What else again? YouTube, there are some influencers. Don't follow some influencers talk, because that was how I was robbed with Kokoloko. So don't follow some influencers. I have been bought by some of them. But there are people that give like objective analysis, and you should listen to people that don't make noise, that don't have shouting, very shouting looking thumbnails. Those people that are always saying Cardano to $1,000, don't follow them because it's unrealistic. So like people that are level-headed, people that are calm, that are always giving like objective analysis on the space, because the NFT space is very young, and we are just at the precipice of it. And I can say that a lot of the projects that we see now are not going to go through, but the ones that are holding water, in a few years we'll see how much they would bring more value to us. We're already seeing that with like Claymates, for instance, and Pavia as well, and some other projects like Dead Pixels, and and Fahadouken's project, Equine. Yeah, I have 2 horses, by the way. So those are the ways that I look out for like good projects, and you might see projects that have great art, but they might not serve you well if there is no communication with the community. That's one of the signs to look out for too. That's pretty much the summary of what I can say about NFT projects.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Ted.
はい。まず、Twitter なので、そのフォローして、NFT のTwitter スペースに入ったりして、参加することがありますと。その時にファハドーケンさんをフォローして、とても素晴らしいと思い、そこからジョインしていますと。Discord でもジェネラルチャンネルでお話をしたり発言をしたりしていて、その中でさまざまなアーティストと交流を持っていますと。やはりツイッターが主な情報の収入源になっているというところで、分析とかができるというところでかなり有用なツールだとは思っています。多くのプロジェクトについてもやはりその中でコミュニケーションを取りながら展開していくものがよく見受けられますというふうにおっしゃっています。Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Welcome back, Fahad. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
I want to add.
You want to add to it? Go ahead. Taimei, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then...
Okay, so there's a couple of things. Is that for one, answering this question is Pool.pm is such a good tool that there's an NFT that you can click that button and you can see how the NFT was born. So that was really, really fun. And then also that I think this question is also depends on your collectors or your investor, because you will put different perspective and looking at different project and different art. For if you're just collecting it, you purchase whatever the art that speaks to you. But if you want to collect it, you might want to look some volume, look some data, and then check on their like Twitter and Discord. You will get the feeling of how the community it is. And I also want to add a couple things. Come back to the questions that what Ryu-san and Fahad-san said before was that for me, I think the first advice that I would give to artists or people want to join the NFT community is that don't rush into creating a project yet. Buy stuff and then purchase the project and then see that, because if you release a project, you have to understand the market. You have to understand the people in the community, what they care and what they value, and also understand the technology, because you're not just creating art. Because if you want to be that's really successful in the NFT market. And the second thing is that with this really such a fast industry and market, you have to define your own path, and you have to define your own strengths and value, because not how should I say, not everyone can be Go Tribe, can be Go Bored Ape, can be those kind of Fahas like project, because that requires a lot of other things that is out of our control. So if you define your success as you have your own community, you directly like you own your production, is a decentralized thing. You have your art gets seen. And if that is the success, then you are already success. And the second thing is that you have to understand what blockchain that you're choosing, why you choose Cardano. And a lot of, they were saying that the partnership, the collaboration, also the why is like seeing the people that is building each other up. And then when we're talking about the marketing, so-called, it's not really the traditional marketing, because in CNFT is especially value the native and genuine support from the people in the space. So, and also looking at the art or the project, whether they bring the positivity and help the market as a whole. So I think that's very important that I want to add for, and that also apply not just artists, but also people want to collect and invest as well. Thank you.
はい、まずその、もしそのコレクターとして、その NFT を収集したいという方がいらっしゃれば、そのプール .fm っていうところで買うのもぜひいいと思いますし、もしその収集する際にまずそのボリュームだったり、そのツイッターを見るとか、そのデータを見るとかして、いろいろリサーチすることが大事だというふうにおっしゃっています。で、クリエイターの場合は焦らずに急がずにまずはその自分のコミュニティを形成していくところから始めていきましょうというふうにおっしゃっています。それともう一つ、その NFT を自分で買ってみることをお勧めします。実際に自分で購入してみることでそれがどういった価値になるのかとかっていうところがテクノロジーの面だったりっていうところも含めてお分かりになると思います。はい、で、NFT マーケットに、なぜカルダノを選んだのかっていうところについても、どのようにマーケットが、動いているのかっていうのを調べるためにぜひ参加してみるのが良いというふうに思っていますとおっしゃっています。はい。
Wonderful job. Faha, before you dropped out, was there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure where exactly I dropped out. I realized when I saw everyone's face was frozen, but I just wanted to also mention one more source. I think of good objective information is, I know we mentioned a kind of warning, or rather do your own research kind of thing, and it's always important to be careful when it's somebody who is obviously promoting for sake of some paid promotion, and that's when you talk about influencers, etc. But I will also mention some objective platforms, for example, NFTupdate.io. Our friends are always putting out episodes where they host creators and they have interviews them to talk about the projects, etc. They're going to also host a CNFT convention in Las Vegas next October. There's guys like, for example, Cardano Thor. There's a lot of people, if you follow them, I think, without dropping too many names for sake of missing someone, I think if you look around, you'll be able to tell who is really sharing projects because they think they are interesting, or whether they are sharing them just because they're being paid for it. So I think that's also an important part to kind of recognize. But that's all I wanted to add. Thanks.
Thank you.
はい。まずちょっと気をつけてほしいことが一つありまして、それがプロモーションについてプロモーターがにお金を払ってプロモーションしてもらうということがありますけど、それについてはよく考えて行った方がいいと思いますというふうにおっしゃっています。で、それで、10月に、CNFT の、コンベクションがありますので、そこのホストをやろうと計画していますので、そちらの方もぜひよろしければチェックしていただければというふうに、考えていますとおっしゃっています。Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. this brings us to an end to our CNFT festival. It's amazing talking to such amazing people from all around the world. This is a way just to highlight that we are not just a Cardano community or a CNFT community. We are an international and global community. So it's been a pleasure meeting each one of you guys, and hopefully the feeling's mutual.
はい、はい、今回はCNFT フェスティバルに参加していただきまして皆様ありがとうございました。これはカルダノのコミュニティだけではなくその CNFT、世界のグローバルのコミュニティになるというふうに信じています。本当に今日はご参加ありがとうございました。
And then I would like to give each guest a whole, allow them to give a chance to just give a closing remark, just maybe where they can find you guys, and also just maybe a small tip for those that are trying to build communities, but also bridge those language barriers. So we're going to start with Ryu.
Sorry, I was typing up all the Twitters of our projects.
That's amazing.
Into the chat. But thank you so much for having me twice. Once almost by accident, but twice. And it was incredible what you guys are doing. I think this is a huge step in bringing the CNFT space to Japan. Again, there are so many creators and there's a huge audience in Japan that I think really wants this. They want it and there's a need for it. And you're providing this platform, I think, and the information and so sort of kind of shortening the distance, so to speak, right, between so that it's much easier for people to feel like they can get involved. I loved all the talks so far. So yes, you can find me and us. Actually, I see our artist in the chat as well, Otodojo. So you can find us at Otodojo Nodes on Twitter or Otodojo Nodes .xyz. And yeah, so thank you very much. このフェスティバル本当に素晴らしいフェスティバルだと思いました。各カンファレンスでも非常にいろんな情報が、日本のオーディエンスにの人たちに向けて、あと世界に向けてっていうのが非常に感動しました。日本のアーティストやあとオーディエンスっていうのも本当にこの NFT のスペースに入りたがってる方たちも本当に多いと思うんですけれども、こういったリソースがあるというのは本当に距離を縮めて、本当は橋渡しになると思うので、非常にありがたいと思っています。こんな、まだ我々は、未熟で若いプロジェクトですけれども、このプラットフォームでショーケースしてくださって本当にありがとうございました。Otodojo Nodes.xyz か Otodojo Nodes、Twitter で、フォローしてください。ありがとうございます。
Thank you. And Taimei, any closing remarks from you?
No, thank you all for hosting this conference, and I really, really appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation with you all because I'm also inspired by that. And then the things that I say is also learning from the experiences that I say in the Cardano community as well. And I'm happy to learn and share that with you all. Thank you. And you can find us through punkbabyhouseparty.io or we're always on Twitter. So yeah, Twitter is the space that you want to go. Yeah, thank you.
はい、皆さんとお話できてとても嬉しかったです。ありがとうございました。カルダノのコミュニティに、携われてとても光栄です。ツイッターが私のメインのSNS になりますので、ぜひ皆さんフォローをお願いします。ありがとうございます。
And Fahad, any closing remarks for you?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for hosting me also twice. I really appreciate the platform. I also appreciate interacting with all the different members of panels we have here. I think it's one of those very enjoyable parts of joining this to interact at this level. I think we all learned a lot and we all also learn from each other, and it's a very positive thing. I'll say you asked us if we can give a tip or a very simple tip. I'll say this tip to anyone who is hesitating about the space, whether it's as a collector or as an artist. If you're on the fence, you haven't tried it, you're just curious, go and try it. Just go and get something you like. I'm not saying go for something crazy. I'm not saying go spend your life saving on anything. That's never advised anyway. Go and get an NFT just so that you know kind of how it feels and what it works like. If it's not for you, it's a low risk. If it is for you, then you're not really missing out. That's my tip. You'll find me on Twitter at Fahadouken NFT. That's the full name. We also have Equine NFT as our project. A big thank you to the CNFT Festival team and これからもよろしくお願いいたします。
はい、今回はCNFT フェスティバルに、参加させていただきましてありがとうございました。まずチップとしてもしあなたがNFT に興味があればぜひ一度買ってみてくださいというお話でした。これが必ずしも買って全ての財産を投げ打ってでも買えというお話ではありませんが、ぜひ買ってみてぜひどのようなものなのかぜひ手に取ってみてくださいというお話でした。ファハドーケンさんもツイッターをやられていますので、ぜひチェックしてフォローしてくださいというお話です。ありがとうございました。
And Oshomah, let me get some closing remarks from you as well.
Yeah, so like Fahadouken said, last year by this time, I never pictured myself owning an NFT. I felt like I was in space to sell because I was an independent artist. And right now, there are a lot of NFTs in my wallet, and I can't stop myself from getting them and collecting them. So it is very interesting for you to participate in this space because there are a lot of use cases for NFTs. And if you are someone that is into gaming or into any form of digital media, it is important for you to pay attention to NFT because it is a new paradigm that will change because you have seen this happen before with social media. I've seen it happen with the internet as well. I've seen it happen with phones, like mobile phones. And it starts really slow. People don't get to adopt these things at first. And when the early adopters enter into the space, they become the people that define what happens going forward. And it is important for people with good intentions to go into the space early so that people that come in won't be led astray, won't have a space where is controlled by greed and people with ill intention. So it is very important that you pay attention to the space. And I'm always talking about NFTs and crypto. So you find me on Twitter, Oshomah, and our project Afrixx.io as well. So yeah, I want to just say thank you for hosting this. And I hope the next time that this happens, it will be in Japan, and I will come to Japan, and we will have a lot of fun there. Yeah.
はい、今日はホストをしていただきましてありがとうございました。私はNFT をコレクトすることがとても大好きでこれからも続けていきたいと思いますし、とても最初は少人数で始まったコミュニティもこれからどんどん、大きくなっていくことがとても重要だと思っていますというふうにおっしゃっていました。今回はまた日本がとても大好きなのでぜひ日本にも伺いたいと思っていますというふうにおっしゃっています。今日は参加させていただきましてありがとうございました。Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much to everyone. Appreciate it. This is myself, Vicc from the Edawara, Yuri, CNT Festival. We're both co-founders for this. And Tet, you've been amazing. It's been real. Appreciate the amazing translation for all this stuff.
Yes, thank you so much. So this is really honor to be part of this. So yeah, thank you for Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
I want to say
Absolutely.
something to Ted is that you are the real bridge here. Thank you for
Thank you so
bridging it
much.
for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe can I add one thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you for all the speakers who gave us a word of wisdom, and the Japanese creators maybe very helpful. They think so, and we will use this event video to educate more creators in Japan, and we will our community, CNFT's community, will collaborate with the most biggest Japanese creators group, maybe in June, and so we will educate more Japanese creators and let them to come to the CNFT space. So if you see any Japanese creators in the CNFT space, please kindly say hello or something, so they relax and can enjoy the CNFT space. So I really appreciate, and Fahadouken, thank you for your joining us, because my Twitter follower was very this, but he met at the Twitter space, and I really want to do that event. So he said, well, definitely I will collaborate with you. And Taimei, thank you for every day she is helping me, and she connect Vicc and me, and also I will thank you, Ryu. You always help me also, and Oshomah, we were very happy to meet you, and Japanese community are very interested in Africa, and also I will thank you for the all Cardano community. Cardano let us meet together. So everyone, thank you.
はい、今日はCNFT のカンファレンスに参加していただきましてありがとうございました。日本のクリエイターたちも皆さんとても興味を持っていると思いますし、これからいろいろCNFT のコミュニティのスペースを広げて伝えていきたいというふうに思っています。6月にまた日本のコミュニティとのコラボレーションがありますので、その時もぜひよろしくお願いします。今回はファハドーケンさんありがとうございました。とてもCNFT のコミュニティをサポートしてくださっていて感謝しています。タイメイさんもありがとうございました。いつもよくしてくださっていてとても感謝しています。リュウさんありがとうございます。毎回一緒にコラボレーションをしていただきましてありがとうございます。おしょまさんありがとうございます。アフリカのコミュニティは日本人もとても興味があると思いますのでぜひこれからもよろしくお願いいたします。今日は本当にCNFT フェスティバルに参加していただきましてありがとうございました。
Awesome. Without further ado, this concludes our amazing CNFT Japan Meets the West conference. Woo! So happy to be here. So happy to be the moderator for so much of this. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to all you guys for making the time for this. And last but not least, I got to shout out my man, Tet. Tet, you've been amazing. So you're going to be translating the last bit, and we'll just let you end it off. So thank you too much to everyone. Go ahead, Ted.
Okay. はい、今日は私ビッグがモデレーターさせていただきました。本当にありがとうございました。CNFT フェスティバル、無事に終わることができます。皆さんのおかげで、今日はとても良い時間を過ごすことができました。皆さんありがとうございました。
Bye bye, everyone.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
バイバイ。